Welcome, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of my team building journey where I'll take you guys through my team building process. And as you guys know from the last episode, we are still going strong with the team that we currently have, so I don't think we need to make any changes for now. So without further ado, I'll just quickly show you guys a recap of the team for those of you guys who haven't watched the previous episodes. And then we'll jump right into battles. So again, the team that we have right now is Iron Bundle, Pelipper, Great Tusk, Fluttermane, King Gambit, and Amoonguss. Now, I did say that King Gambit is not really fitting as well as I've wanted in this team, so I think in future episodes we may experiment with other Pokemon in that slot, but otherwise with the other 5 I am pretty happy. As you guys know, Iron Bundle, Great Tusk, and Fluttermane provide a great offensive coverage, and they're just very hard hitting mons that when played correctly can deal a lot of damage, and I think we've definitely seen that from Great Tusk and Fluttermane, and I promise you guys Iron Bundle will make a great appearance soon. As for the other two mons, we have more supportive mons in Pelipper and Amoonguss. And in the last episode, I believe in the first game, Pelipper and Amoonguss just showed, how between the two of them, their supportive moves such as Wide Guard and Spore, Rage Powder can really cause a lot of damage to my opponent's teams. So I think we are ready to go. Again, if you guys have any comments on how I can improve the team or how I can make adjustments to maybe the King Gambit slot or any other Pokemon, please do leave a comment down below and I will definitely give it a read and give it a good consideration. But without further ado, let's just jump into the games. Alright, we got the first battle of the day against Coloma, bringing in a pretty similar team. In fact, I believe this is the exact same team as we fought in the very first battle that we did on this channel. So as you guys remember, Great Tusk was a big factor in that game. So I think we're definitely going to be bringing Great Tusk. Now, I believe in that game I led the Amoonguss. And I forgot who my other lead was. I think it could have been Great Tusk, but quite frankly, I think the combination of Amoonguss and Great Tusk would be good here. Now, I am scared of the Arcanine, but considering we have King Gambits, I think him bringing Arcanine at the start would be very bold. You know what? Let's reserve Great Tusk in the back. And then for our last slots, I think King Gambit could put in some work here. We just have to be careful of the Iron Hands. But yeah, I like this 4. And again, I do want to bring in King Gambit as much as I can so we can really give it a good test to see whether or not, it's a good fit for this team. I think it does fill in some gaps that this team otherwise would have in the dark type coverage, in the physical attack. But yeah, let's see how they do. Now my opponent decides to lead with Iron Hands and Fluttermane. So I think here, if we Rage Powder, Iron Hands is most probably going to fake out. So I think if we Spore and Protect, we should be okay. Now, worst case scenario, they Dazzling Gleam and Fake Out into the Amoonguss slots, which is completely okay. I'm just worried that the Fluttermane might have Mystical Fire, which could be bad. Yeah, so we do see the Fake Out on the Amoonguss now. Okay, that's the Moonblast into the Iron Bundle. Okay, so yeah, that first turn worked out perfectly fine for us. And so now Amoonguss can just Rage Powder, providing support to the Iron Bundle. And I think between his Dazzling Gleam, and our Hydro Pump, we are definitely going to be able to deal more damage towards that Flutter Mane. And at this point, the Iron Hands, as long as we still have Amoonguss alive, does not threaten us too much. Okay, so he decided to protect there, which is completely okay. And now I believe the Iron Hand should go into the... Yep, Thunder Punch into Amoonguss will not do anything really. That's perfect. Now, what can my opponent have in the back? If I was my opponent, I definitely would not be bringing Arcanine. Maybe just Garganackle or Iron Bundle or Baxcalibur. So I think here, if we Rage Powder again... You know what? In fact, I think the Flutter Mane is scared, so we might as well use this time to kill the Iron Hands. No, you know what? The Flutter Mane just protected, so he has to either take a big hits or switch out. So we're going to use it to punish that slot. And it's an Iron Bundle, so despite it having resist, I think this is still some nice chip damage. Let's see here. Now it does have the booster energy, so its speed will be boosted, but I think that should be fine. Now let's see how much damage this actually does. So we didn't miss it, which is good. And we did more than half. Perfect. Yeah, again, Drain Punch is not going to do much. Amoonguss is just such a great counter to Iron Hands. Now, my worry is that this Iron Bundle is going to freeze right into the Amoonguss slot. And we do want to conserve Amoonguss, so I'm going to switch out to King Gambit here and go for a Freeze Dry. Because worst case scenario, Iron Hand kill our King Gambit, but as long as Amoonguss is still alive, there's still ways to deal with the Iron Hand, so I'm not too worried if we trade, you know, King Gambit for that Iron Bundle. And if we kill their Iron Bundle, then we are guaranteed to have the speed control. So let's see here. Okay, so this should kill. Perfect. And now, let's see what the Iron Hands do. Okay. Ooh, our Iron Bundle survives, which is even better for us. That is huge. Okay, so we are in the lead. We know that their last Pokemon now is Garganackle. So that should be fine. I think our King Gambit is sitting pretty. Assuming that Iron Hands does not kill it. So I think now is a good time to bring back the Amoonguss and just protect here. Yeah, I think this is definitely our game to lose. Now if we protect and... as long as Amoonguss is still out there, which now they don't really have answers to, I think Iron Bundle was definitely their best answer to Amoonguss. I think we're in a good spot. Okay, so that Garganackle protects. Drain Punch goes into Amoonguss, which is completely okay. Again, Iron Hands we can just leave alone for now. I think here we Rage Powder. And I don't think anything wants to take a Hydro Pump from Iron Bundle here, so let's just target it into the Garganackle slot since it already protected. And now if it decides to switch back into the Flutter Mane, then yeah, that Flutter Mane's gonna take a lot of damage. And let's see here. Okay, Garganackle into Ghost. That's completely okay. Yeah, I was kind of worried, I guess, about the Iron Hands going Terra Grass. Now that would be quite bad for us, but that's not the case, so yeah, this is still going to deal a lot of damage. Yep, that's completely okay. And now this means that the Iron Hands, there's absolutely nothing they can do to kill the Amoonguss. Yep, Salt Cure is not too big of a worry, and we still have our Citrus Berry. You know what? In fact, we can minimize the damage as well. So what I'm going to do this turn, my opponent is going to expect me to Rage Powder again. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to protect and put that Iron Hand to sleep now, knowing that he cannot go Terra Grass anymore. So we're going to protect, and hopefully one of the two targets Iron Bundle here. I think if you're my opponent, at least one of them would. And we see the protect there. So that's even better for us. Now the Drain Punch is going to go to Iron Bundle. So yeah, I think that turn played out really well for us. Now let's see if it's Safety Goggles. Yeah, I doubt that Iron Hands is going to have Safety Goggles. Now between our Great Tusk in the back and our King Gambit, I think we can deal with the Iron Hands pretty well. So now again, let's preserve Amoonguss here. We don't want it to die to Salt Cure. I think this is a good time to bring in our Great Tusk just to deal with that Iron Hands. And meanwhile, we're just going to, again, deal chip damage to Garganackle. I think worst case scenario, Iron Bundle falls here, but I think Iron Bundle's done, you know, more than its fair share of work. So yeah, let's just bring in Great Tusk, put it in a good position, heal up our Amoonguss a little bit due to that Regenerator ability. And then bring in the Amoonguss next turn again. Looks like Garganackle decides to just recover here, which is completely okay. Now we can double up into the Garganackle slot, but I think here I just prefer to kill the Iron Hands. So we're just going to freeze dry into the Iron Hands, just making sure that it dies. I think at this point, again, Garganackle does not provide that much offensive pressure. Plus, we've got King Gambit in the back, which can deal with it really well now, thanks to the Terra typing. And with that protects, that works even better in our favor because we just straight up knock out Iron Hands. And yeah, with the last one being two ghost types, I think King Gambit is poised to just take this one and yeah, finish this game off. Now I think if you're my opponents, one thing that I can see could cause some trouble for me is, you know, if my opponent identified that Garganackle is not someone that I'm scared of and decides to just start spamming Salt Cure, yeah, and all that switching that I have to do would make it difficult. Now here, between the two of them, yes, Salt Cure could hurt if I Terra here, but I don't see any other use for my Terra, so I'd rather just Terra Fire, surviving the Flutter Mane a little bit better. And I'm just going to Icy Wind to ensure that my Great Tusk move first. Or not ensure, but gives it a chance. Depending on how my opponent calced their Flutter Mane, we may be able to outspeed. Let's just take a look here. Oh, the Icy Wind misses the Flutter Mane, and that's the one target that we needed to hit, so that was unfortunate there. But yeah, I'm not scared of Moonblast anymore because now we resist it, and this should be able to knock out unless they are sashed, which they are. But yeah, next turn Icy Wind should be able to knock it out. Okay, and Salt Cure killing off our Iron Bundle, which is again completely fine. And now let's bring in our Amoonguss just to deal some chip, and just set it up really nicely for our King Gambit in the end. Now we want to make sure that, you know, my opponent targets down the Amoonguss first, and then in the end, you know, when they're both low, then we can just Sucker Punch into either slots. So in this case now, I think we just want to Iron Head here, and then Garganackle is forced to attack our Amoonguss. Let's see what my opponent does. Okay, they just protect. That's fine. Because, yeah, best case scenario, my opponent gets 2 double protects maybe. But yeah, quite frankly, I don't see an out for them. And that's one of the best things right, about having speed control in Iron Bundle, because we were the fastest thing on the field for the most parts, except for the opposing Iron Bundle. It just gives us a lot of control that we can work around. So now we'll just do the exact same thing. There's no threats here, and I'm happy to let Among Us fall. Okay, Flutter Mane goes for another protect, but unfortunately my opponent didn't get it, so we are just going to outright kill this Flutter Mane, and yeah, this Garganackle is going to have a hard time going up alone against 3 of my mons. So yeah, I think at this point it's just a matter of formality. I guess one thing that I did not respect enough out of my opponents is my their Iron Hands having Terra Grass. I think that could have been really bad for me, because now my Mungus can no longer Spore into that slot, or not just Spore, but Rage Powder into that slot. And Iron Hands deals really well with my Iron Bundle and my King Gambit. So yeah, that's something that I definitely do have to be careful of in the future. But right now, yeah, we're just going to wait until Mungus dies. There's no reason in switching in our King Gambit here. That deals quite good damage. Let's see, Salt Cure. Yeah, Mungus is almost down. The one thing that sucks about Garganackle is that because it has the ability to recover, he might stall out a little bit longer. I think if you're my opponent here, you definitely would recover. I almost want to just go for the Rock Slide in the unlikely case that we do get a flinch. Because if we get a flinch here, it prevents my opponent from getting the recover up and brings in our King Gambit nicely. So let's see. Yep, we got the flinch on the Garganackle, which is really lucky on our end. And yeah, Mungus should fall here. Okay. Yeah, because even if we dealt some more damage there, but that Garganackle could recover, then it would just take slightly longer. Then again, if we didn't get the flinch, then it wouldn't have mattered either way. So that's the reason why I just went for it. Now with King Gambit here and the opposing Garganackle being a ghost type, I think we should be good to go. Alright. Now one thing I did realize, I think I forgot to change the ability of my King Gambit, so that's something that I'm going to change for future episodes. It definitely should be Defiance, right? And the reason why you want Defiance is to prevent Arcanine, who's running around a lot, from lowering our Great Tusk stats, or at least threatening the possibility of our King Gambit to just get that attack boost and sweep from there. So that's the reasoning behind why I want Defiance instead of Pressure. Okay, and King Gambit is going to deal the knockout blow here with Kowtow Cleave. And yeah, off to a great start with our first game of the day. I think this game we finally showed Iron Bundle's capability and why I think Iron Bundle is a great fit to this team. It just gives us an extra speed control, which we otherwise wouldn't have with this team because I don't have Trick Room or Tailwind. Or I do have Tailwind on Pelipper, but quite frankly, it is hard most of the time to use Tailwind on Pelipper just because of how slow it is. And I don't expect Pelipper... I don't bring Pelipper primarily to get Tailwind off. It's more for wide guard as well as offensive support. So yeah, I think having Icy Wind gives us a good shot of, you know, outspeeding the opposing Flutter Mane or even opposing Iron Bundles. Alright, and just like that, we have our next opponent. So let's see here, we're against the best. And they're rocking a double Gardevoir Gallade comp, and this is not Iron Valiant either. So their only Paradox Pokemon is Iron Bundle here, but they do have the scary duo of Talonflame and Garchomp. Quite frankly, I don't see why my opponent wouldn't start with that lead. So I think here what I want to do is I want to start Pelipper and Iron Bundle. Just to minimize the damage of the Talonflame, and maybe we can, you know, get our Tailwind up ourselves as well. Now, they do have 2 fighting types in Lucario and Gallade, so I think bringing King Gambits here would not be the best idea. I think Fluttermane could do well here. And then last but not least, could Amoonguss do work? Yeah, their only answer to Amoonguss really is that Talonflame and their Iron Bundle. So yeah, I think, you know what, let's bring Amoonguss. I think you can make a good argument for Great Tusk, and my hesitation was between those two in the end, but I think if we can just make sure that Fluttermane and Iron Bundle survives, I think we should be able to deal with most of their threats, so I'd rather just go with that. And they are going to start out with Lucario and Gardevoir. Now, I have to be honest, I'm not too familiar with Lucario, so I don't really know what he's going to do. So here, I think I'd rather just Tailwind and Protect. I have a feeling that the Fake Outs from Lucario is going to go into Iron Bundle, and they're probably going to try to burst that slot. So again, we just want to keep it alive. Ice Punch is not going to do much. Oh, that critical hit does hurt. Now let's see, Moonblast. Oh, that's into the Pelipper slot. So my opponent read that first turn really well. Yeah, that is unfortunate, but I think here, yeah, here I'd rather bring in Amoonguss. Now we have to be careful of that Gardevoir, just because it might have access to a Psychic move, which would be really bad for Amoonguss. So I think here maybe we can just Hydro Pump into the slots. Now let's see what my opponent's gonna do. I think if they protect Gardevoir here, then Lucario is going to hit into the Amoonguss slot, which should be fine for us. Let's see. Okay, Gardevoir Terra's here into Terra Ghost. Interesting. I don't think that should matter too much. I mean, this is still going to be a normal effective damage anyways. Let's see. Now we do connect Hydro Pump. This should deal a lot of damage. Okay, that's a nice chip. Oh, that Lucario does have Ice Punch. That is not good. And opposing Gardevoir, let's see. I'm guessing she's most probably going to go Psychic. Yeah, this is not good for us. Okay, Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball's completely fine. Hopefully this doesn't kill Amoonguss. Okay, perfect. So now I think here, if we Rage Powder again, and we Hydro Pump the Lucario slot instead, assuming we don't miss, we should be able to kill it here, and I don't think our Amoonguss would die from Gardevoir. Right now, the good thing that we have going for us is that Iron Bundle is putting a lot of pressure. So yeah, I don't expect to fall here. And Gardevoir just straight up switches, so I think that's good for us. They switch out into Iron Bundle, which is completely fine. And now we're just going to knock out the Lucario, hopefully. Assuming we don't miss here. Let's see. Oh, Iron Bundle is boosting special attack. Interesting. So hopefully we can outspeed it. No, in fact, I know that we can outspeed it, because this means that in order to get your stat boosted, you need that stat to be your highest stat. And so for Iron Bundle to have their special attack stat boosted, this means that he must have sacrificed some speed. And that's something that we can use in our advantage. Okay, so we do knock out the Lucario and our Amoonguss survives, which is the great news. Now here, I think considering that Amoonguss is just going to fall, I think I'd rather kill the Gardevoir. And then next turn we can slow down the Iron Bundle and nuke it with our Flutter Mane at the back. So I am curious who their last Pokemon is. I think we still have a good shot at this game. Now, I don't see a reason why my opponent wouldn't go for Freeze Dry, so I think Amoonguss would fall here. Now, this is a very explosive game. No, he decides to just go for an Icy Wind instead. Okay. Ooh, but that does kill our Amoonguss. That could be bad. Now, our Flutter Mane is going to be the fastest thing on the field, but I'm not sure if we can kill it. Now, the good news is that Garchomp will not have Terra to protect it from Flutter Mane. So I think here we can definitely Dazzling Gleam. And now we have to kill that Iron Bundle. So let's just Terra and boost our Fairy type attack. And we're going to Freeze Dry into the Iron Bundle slot. I think this is definitely still winnable, depending on the speed tier. Now, Flutter Mane should be the fastest thing here, but between their Iron Bundle and my Iron Bundle, I'm not sure who's faster. I guess the worst case scenario is that we don't kill either Pokemon with Dazzling Gleam, and then they focus into my Flutter Mane slots. I think that would be bad. But I think we should still have the advantage here, again, purely from speed control perspective. But out of the games that we've played so far, this is definitely the one that's most nerve-wracking. Okay, our Iron Bundle is still faster. That is huge. Okay. Now, even if we don't kill Garchomp here, we are fine. Because we have a Focus Sash on our Flutter Mane. So in the end, we did win this one after all. But man, losing our Pelipper without doing anything first turn was definitely very scary. And I think one mistake that my opponent made is just Terraing Gardevoir when the Terra could have been better used on Garchomp. And yeah, them knocking out my Wide Guard user in Pelipper was definitely a good move on their end, right? Because I have no effective way to deal with Earthquake then. But yeah, in the end, that did not matter. I think my opponents played too aggressive there, and in the end, again, speed control always wins. Flutter Mane and Iron Bundle putting in a lot of work there, and having that rain boosted damage from the Hydro Pump really worked in our favor. So yeah, once again, I think with today's two games, I feel a little bit more comfortable with Kingambit. I think Kingambit definitely showed up in the first game. But yeah, Iron Bundle, Flutter Mane, you know, the two suspects that we know usually do well, did well again in this game. So I'm very happy. And yeah, we are going strong. We are 6-0 right now with this team, and I can't wait to try this team out in higher ladder against better opponents to see how they do. But yeah, that will be all for me today. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and make sure you guys yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments below. But that will be all for now. Until next time, bye.